Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you very much for joining me here. I hope you're having a great day. Let's take a quick look here once more at XRP, double check some important stuff. We actually do have the beginning of a cup and handle pattern here, which is quite nice to see, especially leading into a resistance range that we have above us at that 230 mark. So keep in mind, this is not a guarantee. Of course, you don't trade patterns specifically, but this is generally a good start and something you want to look for when trying to essentially take a long position. Now, the reason why these are helpful is because they consistently retest that local resistance after a pullback and a retest the descending trend line, which we didn't fully have here, but we do have a retest nonetheless, depending on how you look at it. So I'll talk about that here in a minute. Let's quickly look at the back-end liquidation data here for XRP and see what's going on, and just recognize, liquidation data for what it is. First of all, locally here, 230 is that heavy concentration. That's generally why you see cup and handle patterns break out, because there's a short squeeze that occurs there because everybody's shorting at that resistance, right? But the more times you test a resistance level, more likely it is to break. That's kind of the concept there. From a macro standpoint, 235 to 240 is that upper range here more significantly. So it would make sense for the price to run towards 240 as a result of breaking through the local resistance. Keep in mind, Bitcoin is in a funny place right now where it's kind of pumping. A lot of altcoins are not performing super strong compared to it. So, with Bitcoin dominance being so high, I still feel a little leery taking a lot of longs with altcoins, but there's a few that look pretty nice, and this one has a start of that. Anyways, looking at liquidation delta, we can see we're closer to about 500 million liquidation long delta, just generally telling us we have more longs than shorts in the market. If we take a look here at open interest, let's go back, or zoom in rather, to the last 7 days and kind of see. We have a lot of support below us and the last level of resistance at 228. So that's pretty much standard when you're consistently retesting a resistance range. So when we take a look here, of course, at the charts, we want to kind of take an understanding of the daily time frame. And just note that we have broken our descending trend line, right? So that doesn't mean that we're back on track exactly, because we do have our 50 and our 20-day SMA kind of hanging out right there with the price action. That should generally be lower with the trend line, so keep that in mind. But from a macro time frame, this is generally favorable. Testing that level, that resistance range, is a good sign. We have a MACDs trying to converge, 4-hour time frame. Also looks good. We'll look at that second. But more importantly, we're back up over 50 in the RSI here on the macro. So I think further upside is much more likely, especially breaking free from our local high here at 225. So you can kind of see that local high break with a closure above that here today. So those are mostly positive. Looking at the 4-hour time frame, we're kind of squeezing between all moving averages, but the main thing is the 20 and the 50s below the price. That implies further sustainability, but also we got resistance above us around the 230 mark. Once more, just kind of reinforcing that resistance. So a lot of times the best practice in this situation is to wait for the price to break and then to catch the bullish backtest before the price continues higher. There's no guarantee, of course, that's going to happen, but that's usually best practice. However, breaking this resistance level will tell us a lot, which hasn't happened yet. 4-hour time frame, everything looks very positive here. There's nothing from an oscillator or indicator standpoint that's telling us that we're due to pull back. The only thing that would cause that is if Bitcoin pulled back too, right? And if we take a look here at the charts for XRP and Bitcoin combined, XRP is underperforming versus Bitcoin. But you can kind of see a similar structure here for Bitcoin before it took off, right? Broke through that local resistance. So I think pending Bitcoin doesn't take a massive dump on us and then pull back super hard, there's a solid chance that we're going to probably continue higher. I just think it might be advantageous to consider waiting for Bitcoin to close here today first and see what that looks like if you are the patient type, which is probably less than 5% of the people that watch these videos. But that's just how it works, right? It's easy to be impatient when it comes to breakouts like this. So I'm looking for bullish backtests today to see if any of those things occur. If they were to, then I think a long is viable on this coin. But we're mostly positive here, mostly back on track in regard to shifting momentum and showing us some good strength. Make sure you join us over at Bitunix too, folks. Between now and June 18th is a solid amount of benefit here. Check that out. The link's all down below. And obviously join us on Twitter, Telegram, and Discord too, so you can kind of join me on my shorts and or just play out charts. Those are available there for you too. Hope you all have a good one either way. Thanks so much again for your time. We'll see you soon. Take care.